can't talk until they give me a thumbs up. What did you say, Allison? Say that again. D-Led? Yeah, nothing shocks me about D-Led. He complains every day. You can't tell he's a lawyer? That's what he does. Allison, this guy complains about everything. What's up, Led? How you doing, man? Good day. Got my thumbs up, D-Led, so we can go. Everything else is pretty much the same we talked the other day. Micah, obviously, the big injury coming out that day. We'll see what just is as we move through the week. But everything else is pretty much status quo as that goes.
Yes, Coach, you talked about Matt Hennessy was added to the roster. Where does he fit in that center guard rotation now?
So Matt was have been flexed up the last 3 weeks. You know, obviously you get the maximum of 3 flexes with the guy, then you got to make a decision. Dowman's still down as our starting center. Noozle's been out there working for us. Matt Hennessy's been put in that position to go out there and back up as a backup center. And you had to make that decision. We put him on a roster this week. We used that Michael Abernathy spot to put him up to get him ready to go in case we need him if anything would have happened. Quiet day. Josh, you got something?
How big or small are your adjustments when you're facing a team like a Seattle, team you don't see very often, versus a New Orleans or Tampa Bay, a team you see all the time?
Well, I've kind of seen these guys a lot just being in their division. But, it's not the adjustments. It's more so having a new coordinator in Grubbs that's there, obviously, from college. And some of the stuff that he's done with Michael Penix when they had a lot of success last year. So it's about what he's going to be and how much better he's going to get every single week. No different than like a Zach Robinson calling it for the first time in this league. It'd be the same thing with Grubbs calling for the first time. They got the growth mindset. You can continue to see they want to get better and better every single week. And the same thing on defense, having a new coordinator in Adam Durde. Obviously, we know a lot about Adam Durde, but being with Mike and the stuff they want to do on defense, as well as same thing on special teams with their coordinator, coming from Michigan, the Harbaugh background, having all those things, the development of those guys. So 3 new guys doing 3 different jobs. You're always going to have some type of development, some type of things you're going to have to make, some adjustments you're going to have to make in-game.
Drake is having a breakout year right now. What have you seen from him as far as the evolution from OTAs to training camp to now?
Like I said, when we met, he talked about wanting to take this leadership role in a serious type of demeanor, and he's done that right from the beginning. So right from OTA days, I can already feel the urgency and what he wanted to be. And his coach, Ike Hilliard, has done a great job with him, along with KJ and Chandler Witt, guys that are in that room and talking about how we want to detail the things that we want to do within our offense. So watching him evolve into an inside-outside player has been a lot of fun for us to just go out and do the process. And then, to even watch him within the installs right now, be able to contribute and be able to talk about what he did or his memorization of the game plans that we had before and what this is like has been fun. Really, for me personally, watching the physicality in the run game that he's absolutely grown into, which you saw from afar, but when you see it up close in person, when you're playing it, that's been something that's been really impressive to me.
What do you like about that physicality?
I mean, just that he's just a dog. When you send Drake in there to go get people, he goes and get them. And I was having a fun conversation with our staff the other day about, realistically, he's at the focal point of our run game about 90% of the time for the most part, being a Z. Motion into it, inserting, doing some of the dirty work. But at the same time, he's at about 90% of our passing game, either 1 or 2 or at least 3 on just about most of our concepts. So you're talking about a guy that's getting a lot of high volume in both the run and the pass game, and he's going to be a busy young man a lot, right? So it's like, how do you get ways to maybe rest him at times or maybe get him out there a little bit more to do some different things? So it's like he's done a nice job. I'm really proud of him.
When you were in LA and he was obviously at USC, was he on your radar at all in college and then when he was in the league?
So funny, man. I do not like watching college football during the football season because I know I'm going to have to watch a bunch of it in the off season. And it's kind of nice to sit in your office and be shocked when everybody else is not. So I can't say I watch a whole lot of college football other than my buddies. So I will watch Texas this week. I will watch Penn State because of James Franklin. Obviously, I watch Georgia because I'm here in Georgia now, and if you got to be a Bulldog fan being here, and the people on our staff with Nick Jones, some of those people, but definitely not a great college football fan. But I did know who Drake was, obviously, because I was out there and got a chance to watch those guys locally, especially being on the time change and all that thing. They was always playing at night, so it was always fun to watch those guys.
In Carolina, when you talked about Drake being quote-unquote kind of like another offensive lineman, when you go back and you watch the film from that game, how much did that validate that?
It's been pretty much validated throughout our season. Watching him add on to the run game, be able to insert, do just different things at the point of attack. We got combinations with tackles. He's got combinations with tight ends. He's got a bunch of different things that he does. So, he's really done a nice job in our run game, and he still has more. He still strives for more. He still strives to be a better all-around player in every aspect of what we ask him to do. So I really fires you up.
Speaking of watching guys, did you get a chance to watch Ulbrich and Jets Monday night? Did you?
You do. You turn it on, his background noise. I got a chance to watch those guys.
Did you reach out to him? Did he reach out to you? I know he's been busy, kind of thrust into a new role. Did y'all talk any about it?
We spoke before the game. Obviously, we spoke early in that week. He called me on the way to the stadium. Just excited. Opportunity to go out there and put it on display and do some different things, some different roles. We talked about some of the things that I went through when I was here in Atlanta and doing it for the first time, or the first time as an interim. Right. Taking over mid-season and how you do things and how you got to go about it, and just being brutally honest. You guys can remember we were here together. I just kind of came out and spoke the truth, my version of it, at least, and tried to tell my staff that way, and we just did it that way. So it was really fun to go watch your guy go out there and orchestrate the whole deal and almost pull off a win.
Was there one game day nugget that you told him, this is going to surprise you? Don't let this surprise you.
I don't know if it's a nugget. You just kind of speak from the heart and just from your own personal experience and what you're trying to do. It's I've been in that position as interim or as the head coach when you call in the defense and when you want to be able to click over to make sure you have people that can fill you in or doing what you need to get done when you're not doing it from the other perspective. So, you just can't expect people to do those things. You kind of want to tell them, what your expectations are and what you need from them when you're doing some of these other different things. So, just being able to communicate that really clearly is just something I just told them, just being able to think about it and take a second, take a deep breath, and be able to communicate that to the people that you need to communicate to.
Drake spoke in the interview yesterday. Said the biggest difference this year is playing more Z than he was.
Drake?
Drake, yeah.
Okay.
And playing an X last year. Is part of the reason for that to get him more involved in the run game where he can do some of those?
I think part of the original thought and the original reasons is giving him that Puka-like role that we had in L.A. Puka was a part of the Z, and then obviously those guys become interchangeable with some of the F position and some of those type of things. So getting them inside, some of the things that you guys have mentioned before, having them on the outside, doing some of the Puka type roles that we showed in LA that Zach Robinson is very familiar with, and some of the staff guys that came from there and all that type of stuff. So that was very intentional by our staff when we got here. That move was made pretty much right away. And then that just entails some of the things that we do in our run game, no different than, all those guys. Cooper Kupp has a lot of influence on the LA run game, so did Puka Nacua. And then obviously Drake has a lot of influence on our run game.
I've always understood those roles to be kind of guys that look more like Puka Nacua just in terms of his kind of physical demeanor and his attributes that he has because of that. What makes Drake, at his kind of size and stature, so good at playing in that role?
I mean, Drake looks like a small forward, man, out there. So, he's a big man. And, when he plays and he gets down in those positions, he's not afraid or show any signs of timidness to go in there and get whoever he needs to get. So, I feel really good about doing that. Mohamed Sanu is very similar to that we had here in the past. We've had other guys that we were able to do different roles with that stuff. Julio was at the point of attack a lot, but from a different perspective on how we did with him. But the closest here probably Roddy White was probably the best at it. But Mohamed Sanu definitely was one of the guys that did it.
Did you have Drake watch Puka at all? Check this out.
I think you naturally do that when you come in with some different plays and you kind of showing cut-ups of players, so they kind of watched a bunch of the Rams offense. Obviously, that's stuff that we put in from the Rams offense and things that we wanted to implement, that we wanted to carry over, along with the things that we wanted to add here and some of the things that we wanted to put in that they did really good here as well, because you still have people in the building that were able to talk about some of those things like a TJ Yates and Dwayne Ledford and all those things. So, all that stuff was a part of it.
What does Nate Landman being back add to the defense?
Nate Landman gives us a sound behind the ball linebacker that absolutely can use run fits and use his hands at a high level, shed blocks, come off, make plays. Last week I believe he forced 2 forced fumbles, always around the ball. Made a heck of a play in that big-time screenplay that we seen scored just about by everybody in the National Football League. I think Komet scored at 9:30 in the morning in the London game on that same play. And Nate was able to flash back, make a big-time play in the strike zone, and knock that ball out for us. So, you're just talking about a high-level ball thinker, high-level above-the-neck player that does a lot of really good things for us.
When he and Anderson are both healthy, do you have to game plan differently among their assets and their strengths?
No, I can't wait for them to get back. I like problems. those are really good problems. We talked about in the beginning of the year, how do you play all three of those guys? And we kind of started doing some things and playing with packages and getting them in there in certain stops and making them really compete and get at a high level and be able to go out there and play. So, like, when he gets back, that fires us up. I mean, JD's thrown himself into the mix. So, like, the more things you can have for people, the more opportunities you can provide for your guys and your players, the harder the guys go, the better practice is, the more competitive the nature is. You know, we got a competitive deal just in our own personal department that you work in. You know, you guys write, everybody's writing over there is awesome. And then I can't wait to read you guys' articles. I don't read anything, I'm just joking.
I know college and NFL are obviously different, but with Michael Penix's familiarity with Grubb, like, you kind of ask him, what is he like, his tendencies, like, what it was like working with him?
Yeah, Allison, tell Grubb, man, we got Michael Penix in the room right now. We didn't let him out for 3 days. We got a light in his face shining on him, man, making us give us everything, man. We got every signal, so make sure he changed every single signal. No, I'm just kidding, man. Obviously, he talks about the stuff that he knows from when he played for the guy in college and some of the mentality and things of that nature. But, you know, everybody in National Football Leagues question guys that played on different teams and be able to talk about those things, and having the guy that he coached last year and did a heck of a job with that we got a lot of fondness for, obviously. We got a lot of respect for Grubbs and what he's been doing.
Gino and Kirk are both guys who have kind of come into their own later in their careers. And as we
You said Gino and Kirk?
Yeah.
A little different.
But they both you know have reached new levels later on, you know, at an age that most guys don't necessarily. And I wonder if you see Tom and you see Aaron, you see that people are able to survive in that position longer and longer. Do you change the way you think about it organizationally and maybe look at guys who are an older age to evaluate them and think there's more room to grow because his career is not necessarily going to be over at 35?
No, you know, you're Josh. You're so right when you're talking about that perspective. I thought you meant like at the time that they both started playing really well. You know, Gino went through a rough patch there for a while and bounced around, was a backup, and really benefited from being behind whoever he's behind, whether it was L.A., whether it was New York, both versions of New York, or now getting an opportunity to go be behind Russ in Seattle and then taking over for him. It's definitely shown to improve that the more time you have at that position, the better you can be. And it's no different in the vision that we have with Kurt. You know, when Kurt had a chance to sit around, really just Robert, and then once he took over, I don't think he's ever let go of the reins and been able to just progress throughout the process of playing. But, you know, a little different with the individual techniques of, the individual path of Gino and Kirk, but definitely the comparisons of people being able to play longer at the quarterback position because of how we protect the position, and the fact that it is an above-the-neck position 100% of the way for a very long time. Now, we just happen to have some people with some very great athletic traits that can go do it as a young age, but these guys that are pocket passers, you know, Joe Flacco's out there just balling. So, like, you know, I don't know how old Joe Flacco. He's got to be my age. So, and he's doing phenomenal and had been, and for a long time. So, like, the position definitely got a little bit longer shelf life.
Do you get Kirk's voice memos? Are you on the voice memo list?
Kurt will just send me a text or he'll just call me.
Okay,
you know,
get the voice memo.
no voice memos. I can't take the voice memo. I couldn't do the voice memos with Kirk. He just calls me, shoots me a text, whatever the case may be, whatever he needs, and or I'll pop by his meeting rooms and things of that nature, and we'll kind of just communicate. I'm kind of an in-person guy. I got my door open all the time. These guys can tell you. I can't do that stuff.
How much does Charlie Warner help what you guys are trying to do offensively?
He should be offended that I didn't call him the sixth offensive lineman, you know, because Charlie is certainly definitely the juice and the energy and a lot of the emotional push behind our run game. And he just has such a pride in it. And the one thing I had to call my buddy Kyle Shanahan about, I was like, I tell you what, man, these dudes that we get from San Fran know how to practice. And I just messed up because he told me not to tell anybody. But he has definitely brought that to our team. He's brought an edge. He's brought an energy. He's brought a bunch of different stuff to us that we love on game day and we love within the building every single day, and what Charlie is.
Aside from the edge and energy, I mean, he's a guy who can take a chip block and then get to the next level. I mean, what he's doing when you're watching the film back, are you just more and more impressed every Sunday?
To watch that play, you probably are just talking about, you know, when he comes across and is able to, you know, have a combination with a lineman and then go to the next level, and to be able to sticky to get on to the next level guy and provide those kind of holes for Tyler or Bijan is absolutely outstanding. So, like, he just, I mean, that's the energy and the edge you talk about, though, because none of that stuff requires a bunch of talent. That just requires a bunch of effort.
Atlanta gets the Super Bowl in 2028. Arthur Blank said he talked to you about how hopes you're in that one, but also maybe you're in another one before that? Just what does it mean to have the Super Bowl coming back to the city, and does it put a lot of pressure on you though, trying to get into that one?
Whatever Arthur said, I agree with.
Hey, Coach, can you speak about Larry Frazier and his impact on the NFL in general, and specifically on you as a coach?
Excuse me.
Leslie, sorry, Leslie Frazier.
Oh, okay. I was say Larry Frazier. We talking about the boxer? Yeah, I was thinking. I was in the mix. I was definitely in the mix there, like Joe Frazier or no, but Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier. I was fortunate enough to be able to coach in a very similar system that we both kind of grew up in, and I don't want to say grew up in, that we both had a part to be of it, different parts of time of our lives. So we talking about the Tampa 2 system, and being around that kind of Tony Dungy type vibe. And then we were able to separate, and I watched him grow up in the kind of the Jimmy Jones world of, Jimmy Jones world of the Philadelphia Eagles, greatest coordinator, moved to Buffalo, be able to have a bunch of success in his own, and then like to watch him from afar as a man, character, the leader, the coach, the confidant. I had a lot of respect for him. I had a chance to interview him in Minnesota to be his defensive coordinator. Right at the time I went to D.C. Didn't go out there with him, but got so much respect for him and everything that he's been able to do in his accomplished career.
Yeah, Coach. What's it been like the offensive coordinator and quarterback relationship so important to a team? And what's it been like watching them two kind of develop here through the off season, first part of the season here?
It's been great for me just having the a front row seat of watching Zach develop into what he's doing and having really a chance to go implement how he believes and how he thinks. And also really when you get put in those positions, it's really to be able to teach your coaches and to be able to show your coaches how you think. And I think those combination of those things are all a part of about being a leader. And then also having a chance to be a young coach and having a bunch of ideas, but being able to listen to other people within that same framework to be able to go implement some of the things that we can all do together. So I really love the maturation of, say, Zach Robinson from a play caller standpoint. I hate to say as a coach because he's been doing it such a while, but and doing such a great job, but as a play caller, because obviously this is his first year, but to really watch him to now mesh with Kurt, and for those guys to be able to go through the little small differences that they've had within the systems that they've been in, and to work through the frameworks of all the things that you got to work with from the offensive standpoint with the cadence and lining up and different ideas and thoughts, has really gone well for us. And you really see us, like I keep mentioning, this growth mindset every single week to get better, and that is fun to be around.
So you are watching Georgia and Texas this Saturday?
No doubt. I will be watching that one.
Okay.
Bijan, Zoe.
Yeah.
We got some guys in the building. I mean, Georgia, just in general. But, we got some ties, man. Sarkisian, Kyle Flood. Got a bunch of guys out there in Texas. So I can watch it with a neutral view and just enjoy the game.
Anything else? All right, thanks, y'all.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Raheem.
Jordan, you get